Then when he did find out, and he just got hit with these massive, huge bills. Hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, as you can probably already tell from that intro, I'm going to talk about how you can get scammed by your supplier, but not in the way that most of you may think. So I'm sure many people are worried about when they're very first starting about dealing with suppliers in China and doing all the shipping and all this kind of stuff, because it can be quite daunting when you're first starting off thinking about how to do all of that. But it's actually very simple, the whole process. Definitely not something you have to worry about. I've never ever heard of anyone getting actually scammed by their supplier, especially when you're using Alibaba Trade Assurance, which is a way to pay your suppliers through Alibaba, which is the way that we find the suppliers, so that we're protected if anything goes wrong. It's almost like paying through PayPal. If anything goes wrong, you've got buyer protection. It's basically the same thing as that. So you're completely protected that way. But that's not the point of this video today. The point of this video is to talk about shipping your goods. And I feel almost obliged to make this video from the amount of trouble I hear about people shipping and the amount of mistakes I hear that cost people hundreds and hundreds of pounds without them even realizing it. It's really hard to see when in my Facebook group especially there's 5,100, 5,200 people in there now, the biggest UK Facebook group for Amazon by far, and we get so many posts about people being scammed when they're shipping their goods. And this is the only way that I see people getting scammed or losing money is through shipping. So I'm going to go through how to avoid that and the mistakes people made as to why they get scammed and the process they do, because it's a very simple thing to avoid if you just know to avoid it. And it comes down to the shipping terms. So for those who aren't aware, you've got different shipping terms on how you're going to ship your goods to Amazon, and they all mean different things in terms of who's going to be shipping them, who's liable for breakages and things like that, who's liable for it when it's on the boat. So for some shipping terms, it could be completely the supplier's fault if anything happens to those goods when they're shipping them to the port. In other shipping terms, it could be the supplier's responsibility the entire way from China to the UK. So it depends how you ship your goods and who you ship them with, depends where the responsibility changes for any issues. So just to go over some different shipping terms, we've got DDU, DDP, FOB, EXW. So just for like a brief overview, DDU is delivery duty unpaid, which basically means that it's your supplier's responsibility to ship your goods from China to the UK, and that's it. They don't pay the duties, they don't pay VAT, they don't pay any of these like customs charges, none of that. They just ship your goods. It's completely their responsibility the entire journey. The other one is DDP, which is exactly the same as DDU, apart from the supplier pays the duties. So that's the only difference, because delivery duty paid rather than delivery duty unpaid, okay? So very similar there. Then you've got FOB, which in like the supplier will deliver your goods to the port, and then a freight forwarder of your choosing will then ship the goods from China to the UK. This is the one I recommend. I'm going to go over that in a minute and why people make this mistake. And the other one is EXW, where your freight forwarder has to pick up from the Chinese manufacturer and then take it to Amazon. So with all of these, the goods get delivered straight to Amazon. So there's no difference in that. There's no difference in like anything like that. It's just who accepts responsibility at which point. And the bit that I see everyone get scammed about, and the bit that really frustrates me, because I see a lot of people on YouTube actually recommend this, and it's really frustrating when I see so many people getting scammed by it, and then yet the biggest people in the UK recommending it. It's really, really annoying to see that keep happening. So I'm not saying that this will go wrong every time, and it works for plenty of people. I'm sure it goes well for many of you watching, but from what I've seen in my group, I've seen a lot of people get scammed by doing even DDU and DDP shipping. Every single person I've seen that's had a problem with shipping has been with those two shipping terms. And I'm going to show you some just like screenshots from the group now all over the screen, just to show you the people and the problem they're having with losing their shipments, getting fees they didn't expect, not knowing what's happening, okay? Because just with DDU and DDP shipping, you're saying to your Chinese supplier, I want you to ship my goods from China to Amazon. I want you to handle all the customs. I want you to do all of that. And do the entire shipping process. So do you think that your Chinese supplier is going to choose the best freight forwarder possible, who has a great track record and all this kind of stuff, Or do you think that they're going to choose a really, really cheap local freight forwarder who can get your goods to the UK, but it might take another 30 days extra than normal freight forwarder, which they don't tell you? Your goods may be not handled as carefully, which they're obviously not going to tell you. And all these other problems that are going to happen. Would you rather ship your goods with a Chinese manufacturer who's going to handle all of it that way? I'm not saying everyone does this, but from my experience, this is what I've seen. Or would you rather go for FOB terms, which I recommend, and using a UK freight forwarder, someone you know, someone you can trust? If there's any problem, you can call them up, literally on the phone, talk to them. They're going to reply really quickly. They're going to help you the whole step of the way and do everything for you. And I don't understand why someone will go DDU, DDP, whereas you could go FOB terms and have a UK freight forwarder, a UK shipper, do all your stuff for you, someone you can message, someone you can contact. I've had people ship with Chinese suppliers and they don't know when their goods have even arrived. They've got all these bills coming through, they don't know what they're for, they don't know where their goods are, it's 3 weeks late, they've lost their goods. I've had some people who lost their goods completely. So they're contacting the Chinese freight forwarder, the Chinese supplier, they don't speak good English even, so they're having all these issues and you just can't do anything about it. So as you can see from all the results on this screen now, there's so many people who have problems with this. I have never ever seen anyone have a problem with FOB terms, but I've seen countless problems with DDU and DDP. So I really wouldn't recommend going for these shipping terms. Some people it's okay, some people do it fine, but I've seen a lot of problems with them, and I've never seen a problem with anyone shipping FOB. A lot of the reason why people will go with DDP and DDU is because the suppliers will push it and they'll recommend it and they'll really want you to go that route because it's cheaper for them. It's going to be cheaper for them to use a Chinese freight forwarder where they might not have to pay as many of the loading costs and all these kind of things than it is to go for your freight forwarder because they're doing it the right way. So if they're trying to push you to go DDP and DDU, it's because it's cheaper for them and they can make more money out of it, and your goods aren't going to be shipped as good, they're not going to arrive as soon, you're going to have all these different problems trying to ship customs and borders with a Chinese supplier. Do you really want to go through that? Sometimes it will often be cheaper for you to go DDP or DDU by maybe £40 or £50, but from the sake of losing all your shipment, having all these problems, it might be okay. But from the issues I've seen, I really wouldn't risk it. For your first shipment, for the sake of 40 or 50 quid, if you spent £1,000 on goods, just ship it with a UK freight forwarder. So the freight forwarder that I use is Westbound Logistics, Ryan Clark. I'll put an email in the description below for them. They're absolutely amazing. They're so good. They're lightning fast responses. So if you are in my Facebook group, you'll be very familiar with Ryan Clark because he's always in there. If I tag him, give it a minute or 2 minutes and he's there with a massive comment describing everything you need to know. They're extremely helpful. So I'm actually going to show you now one of my own students from maybe 6 or 7 months ago. He had his first product and was preparing to ship it, and I said, ship with Westbound Logistics, they're great, they'll handle it all for you, you don't have to do anything at all. They do the entire shipping process, they literally do everything, you don't have to do anything at all. Literally nothing, so they handle the whole thing, go with them. But he was very reluctant. He said, my suppliers offered this price, I really want to go with DDP, I really want to do the that kind of shipping terms. I'm really confident, I trust my supplier, he's talked to me really good, he's explained everything to me. I want to go with that and I'm really confident it'll go really well. He said he'll cover all the fees, all the VAT, all the duties, and I said to him that that's just not true. Your supplier isn't going to cover the VAT. That's not included in the DDP terms. But he was very reluctant. He said, no, this is fine, I trust them. And I'll show you now what happened because of that. It got to the UK, it got to the border, customs to come in, and he didn't even know it was there for a couple of weeks because they didn't tell him. Then when he did find out, and he just got hit with these massive, huge bills that he didn't know were coming because his supplier said he was going to cover them, which he ended up not covering, which I told him in the first place, but he just wouldn't listen because he wanted that cheaper price. And if you're going to do everything the cheapest way possible, if you're trying to do Amazon and doing everything as cheap as possible, you're probably not going to succeed, and that's my honest opinion. If you're trying to get the cheapest photos, the cheapest listing, try and sell for the cheapest price on Amazon, you're going to lose every single time for someone who actually thinks it's a serious business and is willing to put in the money to secure their place. If you're not willing to pay to get your goods from China to Amazon in the first place, then you've already lost. So that's my little rant for this video, I guess, about people getting scammed by suppliers. Please just ship FOB. Even if you don't use Ryan Clark, just use some UK freight forwarder. Just do not ship DDP, DDU. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure many of you don't have problems, and I'm sure many of you will disagree with this completely, because I know people that ship DDP and DDU that's absolutely fine. But I also know a hell of a lot of people who've had problems and get scammed. Even people that I've personally mentored have had issues with it even. Whereas I've never seen an issue with FOB. So that's just something I want to stress to you guys to really help you out. That if you are worried, I really don't want someone who's new to Amazon, who's really enthusiastic, who really needs this to work for them to make passive income, to give up on the process and quit and lose loads of money from a simple mistake that's been advertised to them for I don't know what reason. So that does it for this video, guys. I hope you found it useful. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with this, or if you ship DDP, DDU, absolutely fine. Just let me know, because I'm interested to hear how many people do FOB or different shipping terms and how that works out for them. So like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff, turn on the bell and everything. We're growing pretty fast now, so I'll see you in the next video. So, Ruby.